are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am Vince.
Sorry, I thought you needed a dramatic pause. Today's question comes from Authentically Awkward, who asks, does it bug you when an actor or actress gets cast as a superhero or comic book character, but has no previous knowledge of the character? That's the question today, and I think we can elaborate on that and use that also for other characters based on source material before movies. I think that there's a whole topic here besides just comic book and superheroes. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we, Vince? Put 10 minutes on the clock. And here we go.
You know, I think that everybody who's cast in something that is based on prior material should be a scholar of said prior material. So everything that has ever been made about the Bible should have a biblical scholar in every part of that movie.
Really? No.
No. Okay, maybe I'm being a little unfair. But...
Really, how much do you think a person needs to know, though? When they get cast as a character, especially a character that, like, a lot of people haven't heard of, like, how much do you think Robert Downey needed to know about Iron Man before he was Iron Man?
Well, he has a very similar past to Tony Stark, so I think
that was just good casting.
Exactly. I think good casting comes into it. I don't think you necessarily need to have a history with the character. I'm being Bill Clinton. Anyway. I don't think you necessarily have to have a long history with the character. I think that a casting director and a director should know their character well enough that they can say, that guy'll do well. So there's a reason why they cast a Welshman as Batman. There's a reason why they cast an Aussie as Wolverine. You don't necessarily need to have a long history, not to say that they didn't have any information.
Sure.
But, like for example, I will say that I like Daredevil. Not a lot of people did.
No, they didn't. I did too.
But guess what? Oh my God, Ben Affleck is a big fan of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't like it,
he lobbied to get that part.
Yeah. So if you didn't if you didn't like him as Daredevil, if you didn't like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, these are people that wanted to be in those parts.
Good point.
If you didn't like Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm, he wanted, when he met, I think it was Avi Arad, he shook his hand, and the first thing that Michael Chiklis said to Avi Arad, I think it was Avi Arad, was, "Hi, I'm Michael Chiklis, Ben Grimm." And that's all he wanted to do. I mean, well, anyway, I'm paraphrasing, but he said he wanted to be Ben Grimm. So, that's kind of where I come down on it. I mean, maybe we've made this video exceedingly short, but thank you. Have a good day.
Here's the thing. I think that it's not the actor's job to know all that stuff, right? I mean, it's the writer and the director. That's their job. You know, they're writing the film. They're physically creating this world. They're the people who need to know the source material and decide how much of it they're going to use, what they're not going to use. But more importantly, it's their job to tell a good story, right? So, and of course, the actors involved obviously have a commitment to telling a good story also. So, but all they have to do is embody the character that's in the script.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that as long as you cast the right person, and the right person would mean the person who can pull off whatever you want that character to be. You know what I mean? So I just don't think that it's the actor's job. You know what I mean? I think it's the director. It's the director and, like you said, the casting director's job to find the person.
Yeah.
And then. You know, honestly, I think knowing the character too well can potentially actually hurt a performance.
There's an episode of Castle where they have a female actress shadow the woman that Castle is shadowing, and she says, "I didn't read the book because I don't want that to taint my image of what the character should be on screen." Well, in that they sort of give a reason for her to actually read the book, but anyway, I think she makes a terrific point that if you have a movie, it's a different beast than what the original material was. Because if you look at look at X-Men as a good example. You have Storm, who's not even close to what she was in the comics, other than being able to use, weather powers.
And I just call that a miscast.
Yeah. And personally, I didn't think Halle Berry did poorly. I think that they
didn't get the right actress for that role.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I think...
No, I'm just saying I don't think that what they I don't think that what they created was really Storm, you know, and I mean like and that maybe sounds a little bit fanboyish because you could say, well, maybe they created a different character, but then you know what I mean, because you don't have to just stick straight to source material. But then I would challenge you to explain to me why that character is cooler than the one in the comics. You see what I'm saying?
That'd be hard to argue, but the reason I say that I don't necessarily disagree with you is because they didn't do much with her.
No, they didn't.
And if you don't really flesh out the character...
But then when you got X3, they tried to, and that's when you can tell they cast the wrong person.
Well, I think it was just a bad movie.
Well, it is.
So if they'd made the character
But she was part of the problem because she lobbied and lobbied and lobbied to get more screen time.
Yeah.
See, I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I mean, like...
You know, I think that sometimes...
Casting is hard. I mean, getting the right person. And then, like, you know, star power helps your movie, so you try to... So sometimes you try to get people who are really well-known already, but then well-known and fit a role. We've talked about Johnny Depp a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean...
stuff like that.
I mean, Johnny Depp's kind of a character actor, so when you cast a guy like Johnny Depp, you're going to have somebody that's at least trying to be something other than himself.
Yeah.
When you're casting an actor, I think an actor they have two jobs. They have one thing where they're trying to interpret the character and be faithful to the source material, and then you have the other part of why you're casting that person, and they're an actor because they supposedly can do the thing I just said. But you're casting that specific person because they have a personal flair that they can bring to it. Why did you cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Well, because he had a personal flair that was perfect for Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because him doing that role was not a stretch. Mm. You know, I mean, those two people had enough things in common already in just the way they operated that it made a lot of sense. And you're not always going to have that. You don't always have to have that. You know, you've got because you got method acting, and then there's a lot of different kinds of acting. So you got to have somebody like Heath Ledger, who of course was nothing like the Joker, but he just turned into that character. You know, that sort of thing. Whereas I think if you met Robert Downey on the street, you'd be talking to Tony Stark, kind of. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, I think there are some people that just naturally have things that their characters
just fall into it.
And I think that also, what was it? Gary Oldman said something to the effect...
He's a character actor.
Yeah.
That guy never plays the same role twice.
Gary Oldman said something to the effect of, acting is being natural under pretend circumstances. Mm-hmm. And I read that and I was like, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what an actor should be doing. When people are like, oh, I'm stepping in and out of a role, I am going to be firm now. Like, you know, you look at a guy like Channing Tatum, or Tatum Channing, or whatever that guy's name is. I'd never remember. And whose range is specifically smiling and yelling, then, actually, I wouldn't even say smiling, but it's hard for me to look at a guy like that and saying having any prior knowledge of a character would help him out.
I would argue a point you made a little bit earlier when you said that it's partially an actor's job to interpret the source material. I don't think it is. I think it's the actor's job to interpret the script. I mean, like I don't think the source material ever...
Did I say source material?
You
I meant the script. I
mean,
okay.
I'm just saying...
The actor's job is to interpret the character within the script.
Because I don't think the source material ever really has to fall into play with the actor. I think that that's all in the script. And so then if the script is written correctly and the actor knows what he's doing and interprets the script right, then the places where the source material needs to be where you need to be faithful to is just going to fall into place. I'd like to think. I want to mention Tom Welling really quick because this is an interesting case. Tom Welling refused to really do any research on Superman whatsoever when he got that role. And he wasn't a Superman fan, and you can tell. I mean, he's not a comics guy, he's not a geek. And it worked really well for him for the first couple seasons. Because you get somebody who's not a big fanboy for Superman, and I think that makes it easier for him to be Superman, if you think about it. Because, I mean, like, Clark, or at least to be Clark Kent, because Clark Kent is not really a nerd, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I find that really interesting. The problem with Smallville is that when you get into later seasons, he becomes one of the executive producers. But the man knows nothing about Superman. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting case. I think then we
so there's the reason why he never stopped being whiny. Oh.
Yeah, partially, yeah. But you see what I'm saying? I mean, where it's like I don't think it's always a good thing for actors to cross to cross the line over and to.
There are some people who deserve to be behind the scenes, and there are some people that should only be on camera. And in Tom Welling's case, I would argue neither.
But I'm just saying that, and I know you don't like Smallville at all. But what I'm saying, and fair enough. But what I'm saying is, if you're filling both shoes, well, then you have to know source material. You have to.
Yeah.
And I really kind of get the feeling that he still didn't. And that that he thought he knew who the character was because he'd been playing him for so many years, but that character never really lined up with who he was fundamentally in the comics. So. Yeah. In my opinion, so whatever. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that one out there because I think that's a major example. What do you think about? Let me throw this one out there real quick too. What do you think about like reboots? Like somebody comes back. I meant to mention this earlier. Somebody comes back and makes a movie or comes back to a franchise after a lot of years, and you cast a new character and you cast a new actor. Do you think it's a good idea for that person to not watch the original film?
Sure. I would say that part of Superman Returns' problem was having too much respect for Donner's movies. I mean.
Oh yeah, me too. But I'm talking about the actor.
Well.
Playing the role.
I think a new actor should have the ability to. Ideally, I would say that any actor should have the ability to separate himself from what he's seen before. So an actor should value his own abilities and think that he's bringing something interesting and new to the character. I mean, when you look at Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, I think Kevin Spacey could have been a terrific Lex Luthor. I think he was a great casting choice.
I think he was a terrific Lex Luthor. I just don't think he had a script behind him.
I think that they were making him do too much of the goofy Gene Hackman.
And he was fighting it, you could tell.
Exactly. I mean, he wanted to do the thing that the fans wanted Ed though, but they kept trying to push him more towards Gene Hackman. So.
Well, and they cast a guy who has a body type of the Lex Luthor from the comic books. I mean, he had a reason to try to act like that version.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to come down on this saying that an actor should not know the source material at all, or that you should never cast somebody who has a lot of knowledge. I just don't think that that's necessarily their job.
Yeah, it's not necessarily not helpful.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I think it can be a hindrance.
But it's not necessarily necessary.
Yeah. I don't think it's a definitive answer. Because, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, well, I think it would have been a mistake for the actors in the new Star Trek movie to have never seen Star Trek. I don't think that would have been good.
Yeah, but, ideally, if you have a script that's good enough, you'll have a character. And if you have a good script and a good actor, you'll have a worthwhile interpretation of the character.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Mm-hmm. It's just that was one of those where everybody in that movie talked about how they had to take the performance that came before and figure out how to do something different with it.
Yeah. I would argue that sometimes directors don't understand the script that they're given, and then they cast people that are just not ideal for the part.
Mm-hmm.
So, or they'll cast people that are ideal for the part and try to push them to do something else.
Fair enough. I was going to say the original Buffy movie was a prime example of the first thing you said. A director who didn't really get the script, so they just cast the wrong person. So anyway. Well, what do you think about this particular topic? What do you think about Cat? What were we talking about?
Actors knowing source material and influencing their performance.
I'm just kidding. Leave your comments, and also if there's something you'd like us to talk about in a future video, leave those in the comment box as well. And thanks as always for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.
See you next time. It's good that we don't both snap, because you snap a lot. It's like if we both snapped, it'd be like.
Snap your fingers and sing a song. We're gonna happy and be along on the show. Geekvolution.
Are you trying to turn our show into a '30s Disney cartoon?
Hang on, I'll go get my steamboat.